I'm Jazz Dillon, an RCIC with Real West Immigration. If you've been struggling with Canada's immigration system, this is the channel where we cut through the confusion, show you what really works, guide you toward permanent residence with confidence. Imagine being just one job offer away from turning your Canadian dream into a reality, but losing that opportunity because of one tiny overlooked detail. Non-designated employer, a point calculation you misunderstood, or a work history that doesn't line up what you declared before. That's the reality right now for many people in the rural community immigration program. The new category-based selection system. The truth is, immigration is not just about eligibility on paper. It's about strategy, sequencing, and protecting yourself from mistakes that can cost you years. If you're watching this video, you're already good because you're searching for the information that separates approvals from refusals. Now, let's dig deeper into what's happening, why it matters, how you can position yourself to actually succeed. Canadian immigration is not random. It's not about filling out a form and hoping it works out. It's a system with rules, with priorities, with politics, with economic agendas, and with communities that are desperate to solve their labor shortage problems, while also filtering for the right candidates. If you treat it like a lottery, you'll feel hopeless and frustrated. If you treat it like a strategic process, you start seeing the patterns, and you can align yourself with them. That's exactly what I do for my clients. I show them not just the rules, but the patterns behind the rules. Now let's talk about the RCIP program, which is the Rural Community Immigration Pilot. It's not some hidden backdoor. It's not a casual option. It's a structured, employer-driven process. And I need you to pay attention to that word, employer-driven. That means you cannot simply apply on your own. The community won't accept an application directly from you. That's the first move that comes from the employer. The employer must become designated by the community before they can endorse you. If your employer is not designated, your file goes nowhere, no matter how good you are. Let me give you an example. Thunder Bay has already set up its system. They identified 5 industries, 25 occupations as priorities. That's where they want the bulk of their talent to come from. If you're in those industries or occupations, you automatically get a points advantage. Thunder Bay is employer-driven. That means one step is getting the employer designated. Step 2 is them endorsing. Only then do you get the chance to apply for permanent residence. Many people fail not because they don't qualify personally, because they never prepared their employer for designation. And by the time they wake up to the fact the quota is full, the timeline has moved on and the opportunity is gone. This is why understanding sequencing everything. If you don't want to be the person scrambling last minute, then you want to be the person whose employer is prepared, already designated, and already ready to endorse. That's the difference between getting picked up early or being left in limbo for another year. Now, let's look at the points grid Thunder Bay has introduced. You earn points for things like having a job offer in a priority sector, having related work experience, having strong language skills, including French, and showing a genuine intent to live in the community. You need a minimum of 50 points to be eligible. Here's something most people don't realize. The minimum is not the goal. The minimum is just the door. The real competition happens above the minimum. If you're barely scraping 50, you're not competitive. You're stacking points in multiple areas. Sector, occupation, language experience, that's when you become attractive to the community. And don't forget, healthcare is being prioritized everywhere. But that doesn't mean other sectors are useless. It means you need to know where you stand and how to present your case so that even if you're in business administration, education, trades, or sales and service, you're showing your value in a way that resonates with the community published priorities. This pattern repeats across other RCIP communities. Brandon in Manitoba, Sault Ste. Marie in Ontario, North Okanagan, British Columbia, Timmins in Ontario, all of them are announcing from similar framework: employer-driven, priority sector, limited endorsement quotas. The differences are not in the details. One community might prioritize truck drivers, another might not. One community might emphasize natural resources, another might not. If you assume every community is the same, you'll miscalculate. If you study the differences and position yourself accordingly, you gain an edge. Let me illustrate it with a quick story. Two candidates both working in education sport. One candidate's employer got designated early, prepared a proper job letter with duties that matched the knock exactly. And the candidate also invested in French testing, which gave them a bonus in points. The other candidate had the same background, but their employer delayed designation. The job was generic and vague, and they decided not to bother with the language improvement. The first candidate got endorsed, moves forward smoothly. The second candidate is still waiting, frustrated, and watching the quota fill up. Now, was it luck? No. It was strategy. And that's exactly why this process cannot be treated casually. Canada has made it very clear that category-based draws are here to stay. The big focus categories are French, healthcare, trades, education, STEM, agriculture. And those are consistent themes. After a year, they will adjust the knocks, how many invitations are issued, and when the draws are held. But the signal is clear. If you can align yourself with one of these categories, your chances. Think about French, for example. In 2025, the government confirmed they want francophone immigration outside Quebec to increase steadily each year, moving from 8% to as high as 12% by 2029. That's a massive increase. If you're sitting on the fence, wondering whether to learn French, this is your sign. French is not an option no more. It's becoming one of the most powerful levers you can pull to boost your competitiveness. Healthcare and education continue to be flagged as areas of persistent shortages. They are not temporary fads. They are long-term national needs. And you have STEM or agriculture, which will continue to appear in specific, sometimes smaller quotas, but still play an important role. What does this tell you? It tells you that if your work experience can be credibly connected to one of these categories, you should be positioning yourself now. And here's the mistake many people make. They assume eligibility equals selection. Now, that's not true. You can be eligible for express entry, but if you're not in a priority category, or if your points are weak, or if your documents tell a confusing story, you won't be selected. Officers just don't check boxes. They follow stories. Does your history make sense? Does your job duties align with their knock that you're claiming? Does your work experience match what you declared in earlier applications? If you left out work history on a study permit application and now suddenly add it for express entry, that creates risk. If your job title says manager but your duties look like entry-level work, that creates doubt. If you're applying under a senior knock, can't show a real team reporting to you, that's a red flag. This is where a consultation becomes essential, because no YouTube video can walk you through your personal inconsistency. A consultation lets us map your story, identify gaps, and fix them before they become problems. Let's also talk about timing, because many candidates waste months waiting for scores to drop. But look at the reality. IRCC themselves in internal notes have said they don't expect CRS scores to drop dramatically. The range will remain high because more people are adding competitive points through foreign work experience, French, and employer-driven endorsements. Waiting is not a strategy, readiness is a strategy. If you're ready with a clean, strong file, you benefit when the draws. If you're without action, you get passed over. Now, I want to highlight something very crucial. Document integrity. Officers are trained to spot inconsistencies. If your employer's letter doesn't match, no. If your pay stubs don't line up. If your study permit application told a different story than your PR application, you're at risk. And IRCC has gotten stricter. Provinces are doing site visits, employers are being checked, and fraudulent cases are being shut down. Misrepresentation comes with bans, not warnings. If you think you can cut corners, you're gambling your future. So let me share what I call 5-point conversion plan. This is how I structure winning cases. First, we do a knock position audit, making sure your duties match your knock, not just the title that you like. Second, we coach your employer to be ready for designation and endorsement with compliant documentation. Third, realign your profile with the category that actually boosts your chances in the next draws. Fourth, we look at your language score leverage, because even a small improvement can shift competitiveness. And fifth, we reconcile your entire immigration history into one clean, consistent document story that makes sense to an officer. And I want to be very direct here. If you're in Canada right now on a temporary permit, you're not competing alone. You're competing with 2.3 million temporary residents, people on work permits, study permits, visitor records, all hoping for PR. That's the reality. You cannot afford to be casual. You cannot afford to wait. You need strategy. So here's what I want you to do. First, subscribe to this channel. Not because I want vanity numbers, because missing one policy shift could cost you your best shot. And second, if you're serious, book a consultation using the link below. That's where we get specific. That's where we take a look at your actual history, your employer, your documents, and build a roadmap that protects you and move forward. I know some of you are wondering, what if I don't have the perfect profile? What if my employer is new? What if I'm only halfway through my work experience? That's okay. Strategy is not about perfection. It's about sequence. It's about knowing the right next move, not trying to do everything at once. That's why people who plan get ahead, and people who wait get left behind. Let me close with this. Canada's immigration system is moving fast. Communities are taking control through RCIP. IRCC is reshaping the selection process to categories. Employers are being scrutinized. Fraud is being published. French is becoming non-negotiable. And quotas are tightening. This is not the time to experiment or hope. This is the time to be precise. So stay focused, stay smart. Don't gamble with your future. Hit that subscribe button now, so you're always in the loop. And more importantly, book your one-on-one consultation so we can sit down, map your pathway, and turn your profile into a competitive strategic application that gives you the best shot at success. Your future in Canada is not a lottery ticket. It's a strategy, and it starts the moment you decide to take it seriously. Let's make it.